If you've been eyeing podcast guesting as a growth channel, but you're not really sure how it actually moves the needle, you are in the right place. Here are 6 ways business owners are using podcast interviews to drive business growth. 1. Increase visibility. We spoke to Alan Casanelli, the marketing manager at SaaS companies Almanac and Blaze, who booked his CEO on 17 niche podcasts in just 3 months and put the product in front of thousands of SaaS decision makers. At Raphonic, we've identified more than 122,000 podcasts that accept guests, covering every topic and niche you can think of. So think about it. Even if you're less ambitious than Almanac and guest on one highly relevant podcast per month for 12 months, and each podcast has, say, 1,000 listeners, that's 12,000 people hearing your message, connecting with you, and getting that extra touch point that makes them more likely to become a client or a customer later down the line. 2, instant credibility. Consultant Talia Heller told us that her podcast appearances on B2B marketing podcasts have made it much easier for her to close business because they give people who potentially want to work with her a better sense of who she is and what it's going to be like to work with her. She says that it makes prospective clients feel like it's less of a risk. If you guest on respected shows in your niche, you will shortcut months of cold outreach skepticism as people come in already trusting you. 3, networking and referrals. It's not just listeners that you are connecting with and building relationships with when you guest on podcasts. It's also the hosts. And if you've done your research properly, then you'll be guesting on highly relevant shows in your niche. So the host is an industry peer who can unlock more opportunities for you, maybe even referring you to other hosts for more podcast appearances. 4, backlinks and SEO. Alex Hormozy's run of 90+ guest spots earned Acquisition.com a mountain of do follow and no follow backlinks from show note pages and podcast websites. And Ann Capuzza, founder of Powerhouse Strategy, reports that podcast appearances have become the single biggest driver of traffic to her website. This is because for most interviews, hosts will link to your or your company's website in the show notes. And then when the episode is published, it gets distributed across multiple listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Hosts also often publish episodes on their own website too, which are usually do follow links that are great for SEO. 5, evergreen traffic. We use Raphonic's data to calculate that Joe Rogan gets approximately 180,000 new listeners to his podcast every month. And many of them will browse the episode backlog for interesting content to listen to. So this is another upside of guesting on podcasts. The episode continues to work long after release, so you and your company keep getting discovered by your target audience. 6, weeks of social content. Without podcast interviews to repurpose, constantly thinking of new content to create and post on socials can be tiring and difficult. But if you guest on a podcast once a month with an hour-long interview, you can turn that into weeks of social posts. Check out the link in the description for a step-by-step guide on how to turn one podcast interview into 30 days of social content. Catch you next time.